Hey, it's Ronald off the record. Hey, today I'm going to react to the new teaser for Stranger Things Season 5, and I'm really excited. Yes, I'm an actual lawyer who has a YouTube channel talking about entertainment, and another channel, The Rules Lawyer, talking about tabletop RPGs. And most of my viewers currently, at the time of this recording, know me as the Byler Lawyer for my super long video talking about how the Duffer Brothers have set up a possible Mike and Will romance for the last season. Today I'm going to first analyze this teaser poster that came out, then I will react to the new teaser trailer, which I have not seen yet, and then give my immediate thoughts to give that lawyer analysis some of you are looking for. So what can we analyze about this poster? Well, there's not much we can say conclusively. First, the most obvious thing is that this is an homage to the Season 1 poster that I'll put up on the screen, the boys on their bikes, and to Season 1 in general. There was a chase scene where the boys and Elle were trying to get away from the government, and this definitely has that vibe. Elle is looking backwards at something. And the Duffers have been explicit that this last season will go back to Season 1 themes. Will has been a central character. He was kidnapped by the Upside Down and somehow survived mysteriously, and the Upside Down is key to the day that Will disappeared, and it's clear that he's the main protagonist this season from the previous teaser we saw. And look, here he is in front of the group. Normally it's Mike who's seen as the leader of the group, but Will is in front. These are the main messages I think can be gleaned from this poster at this time, that Will's going to take on a central role in the party, possibly a leadership role. There are other things that can be said about this poster that are kind of, well, you can't really say much more than what I have said, I think. And of course, for people in the Byler versus Mileven wars, one could interpret this either way. There are people saying Mileven endgame confirmed because Elle is on Mike's bike. And then Bylers are excited, and I made a post on Tumblr because Mike is looking at Will and following Will. Now, speaking as a Byler fan, I think we have to curb our expectations that the promotional materials are not obviously going to show Mike and Will kissing or obviously hint that they're going to become a couple, because if that were to be hinted at, you would be exposing the twist that you've been preserving for 4 whole seasons. On the other hand, one can't really say this confirms Byler Endgame either. And on the other side, well, this doesn't really confirm anything either. Elle is looking away at Mike, and if anything, all we see is Mike with a being with superpowers on his bicycle, which is possibly reference to E.T. I don't know. It could be anything. So I think this is a draw for the Mileven Byler ship wars. However, you know what? Actually, I changed my mind. I think this gives hope to both sides at the same time, which is what you would want to do if you were the creators to preserve a Byler endgame. If we see breadcrumbs thrown to both sides, I think that is actually going to increase my Byler meter, in fact. Okay, but I know a lot of you are tuning in because you're curious about other parts of this story. There is the end of the world after all. So let's get to the teaser. Ooh, I'm excited. What is that? Radio station?
Burn commencing in 5.
Burn commencing? Sounds like Mike talking.
It ties us together forever.
What? Who's that? Linda Hamilton? Was that Max? Oh my god.
Blood. I need you to fight one last time.
Oh my god. Lots of shots at once to analyze. Vecna.
Found you.
Okay. I didn't have as visceral reaction this time because it didn't end with Mike screaming. I mean, with Will screaming, obviously. So it's hard to tell. I don't know. I found it really hard to kind of follow and figure out what's going on. There's just a lot of stuff being teased, but not really explained. Okay, first of all, I don't know what burn means in radio talk. Okay, I looked online and I was not enlightened, so I don't know what burn is. Okay, increasing the decibels, that's volume. I think from a preview shot, this is going to be Mike and Lucas. Now, who this is in the background, I can't tell. But they're at this radio station, which is supposed to be a home base, I think, for the gang. Elle's with the group. I thought Elle was going to be separated from them. Maybe she is later in the season. So there's some coordinating going on. Mike is saying this phrase when the burn commences. Okay, there's a bunch of people in a shelter. A bunch of kids. So I'm wondering if this is the first episode and the army and the people of Hawkins are dealing with the initial breaking out of the gates. And whether there's going to be a very action-packed first episode where they're trying to resolve how Hawkins responds to the gates at first before a time jump. Maybe. Because why would the kids be in shelters if eventually there are scenes of the gang, the Core 4, in school? This does not seem like a situation where kids are going to school. Okay, here's Will again, looking like he's in some weird possessed state. Look at that. Look at him. Unless that's just his normal way of standing this season. I guess he's just very tense this season. It kind of looks like he's like freaking out and looking up into his eyelids. Possibly. But then if he is, why are other people not looking at him or caring for him? I'm not sure if that's what's going on. Okay, Will feeling his neck as usual. This looks like a school scene. Maybe he's outside the school. Yeah, there's a backpack. That looks like Mike and Will taking Holly to school, maybe. Or somewhere. So at first I thought this was the boys leaving Hawkins and the army going in, but this just looks like one of the preview shots. Holly is older. This will be after the time skip. So I guess there's normality and school's in session. Maybe this is a very well-guarded road to school. I don't know. I don't know if this is school. Why would you be taking a bike for miles on a highway to go to school? I don't know. Lots of speculation on my part. Okay, army base. And this is where that's the big building where the 4 rifts from the gates converged. Something's happened where the gates are now covered up. It's no longer hellfire. Hell is under control, at least for the moment. What is this gate? What is that red gate? That is that hell right there? It's just like out in the open, and you can walk in and out. That's like an open gate. Okay, this is the vandalized grave of Eddie Munson, rest in peace. He died a hero, and Dustin honoring him. Him getting his honor back has got to be a plot point, something for season 5. I do think that we'll see one of the arcs, possibly this season, are the outcasts and the bullied getting redeemed, because everyone associated with Hellfire is now being blamed for the gates to hell opening. So that includes Mike, Lucas, and Dustin. So they're going to be in the middle of it. This is Lucas and Max. Okay, did that have the date on his watch? What date is that? Thursday, November 2nd. It looks like Thursday, November 2nd. So 4 days before November 6th, the anniversary of Will being taken. It looks like the anniversary of Will's being taken is going to figure into the plot. Okay, lab people trying to burn something down, which didn't work in season 2. What are you doing? It only made the tunnels get bigger. Okay, Joyce and Hopper having a scene. There's been a lot of preview pics showing Hopper only with Elle. This could be a, goodbye scene, because Elle's on the run. The bad part of the government is still after her. Hopper, he's believed to be dead by everybody. What is this? This is the old Hawkins lab. They're approaching Hawkins lab in the Upside Down. One of my theories is that it's possibly easier to get into the Upside Down to go back and forth now that the gates are open. So maybe they go back and forth more this season. Since the gang is all together, they are probably coordinating efforts, just like at the end of season 4, what was then the Hawkins gang was working in different places at once, trying to coordinate with walkie-talkies. I guess that's what Dustin has here. I'm not sure. All right, this is the hands together. It's so cool to see the Core 4 teaming up again. Anyway, Mike and Will, great haircuts this season. They got glow-ups this season. But you can tell who put their hands down first. Mike did. So, I heard that there are leader Mike moments this season. So he probably proposed the plan, put his hand down. And then Lucas puts his hand down next. Possibly a plan to save Max. Hence why Lucas would put his hand down next. He would not hesitate. Yeah, but their mood is they're making a promise to each other of some kind. That's why you would do something like this. There's a die. So were they playing D&D out in the woods? There's danger involved. And they really need to know that the others they can count on the others. All right, so they're using their D&D miniatures to mark out, apparently, this looks like an army vehicle here, to figure out some kind of plan. And this is apparently a map of Hawkins. All right, so I'm sure many people follow my channel are going to want to know what I think about this scene. All right. What is Elle wearing? What is that? Is she going to go into the salt water? It looks like they're in Hopper's cabin. And that's not necessarily I'm infatuated and in love with you look. It's more kind of a love and care for each other. It could be anything. It could be them being concerned for each other about the danger they're about to go into. It could be them getting closer. It could be them deciding to break it off. Who knows? Okay, sadly my stupid computer stopped recording at some point without telling me, and so I reacted to, or I did an analysis of each shot of the rest of the video without it recording. So this will be easier to follow me going over the same shots. So I have to say that if I were to just look at this scene and just see their body language here, I think there's two possibilities. One, that they're having a tender moment before danger, or having some kind of honest conversation. And if what you were to ask me, my first thought looking at this body language is that Elle has her hand to Mike's neck because she's expressing understanding of something, and almost like he's asking for kind of forgiveness. Which, if you hear the words I just said, sounds like he's maybe he can't say he loves her, but and they're having an honest conversation about it. So it could be one of those two things. I'm not going to fall hard on either way, but it could be, again, have them having a tender moment, or there's some kind of Elle is trying to comfort Mike, is the sense I get here. On this line of thinking, maybe the painting lie was revealed and Mike saw that Will lied to him about the origin of the painting and that Mike's feelings were misdirected toward Elle. He perhaps has sorted out his feelings and is telling her that he loves Elle, but doesn't feel like he's in love with Elle, which would be consistent with the evidence I go through in my extensive Byler video. Also, I have to point out that this is some door taken off of its hinges, apparently, or maybe it's some door that closes this thing that they're sitting on, but it's basically symbolizing an open door, as if somebody had left an enclosed space, say maybe a closet. So not conclusive, but again, giving breadcrumbs to both sides, which, like I said at the beginning, I think tilts towards a Byler endgame. The reason some anti-Bylers are so excited and moralized by this shot is because Mike and Elle look like they're actually communicating. We had a whole season where they were trying to make a romantic relationship between them work in season 4 where they failed to communicate, while there were 5 heart-to-heart scenes between Mike and Will. Whether they're communicating now in order to move towards romance or a platonic, loving relationship is unclear. But after season 4, it feels like rain in a desert. All right. Okay, what I said before, which wasn't recorded, this is good evidence for a Jancy endgame, because this is Jonathan saying through that everything they've been through together, it ties them together forever. And you may remember in season 2, before they slept together, and Murray encouraged them to give in to their feelings for each other. Murray said they shared chemistry, they're young, they're attractive, and they have shared trauma. And this could be that. And season 4 ended with Nancy kind of looking in Steve's direction, and also Jonathan kind of not being honest about not getting the acceptance letter to the college. Things were out of sorts, but it looks like the arc in season 5 is them getting closer together. Now, this could also be setting up a possible Jonathan death or Jonathan death scare. Anyway, we can't draw any conclusions here. I don't want to freak anybody out, but this is the last season. The Duffers are going to do everything they can, making us feel no one is safe. But this then seems to be them having a bonding moment. Okay, this is Elle putting on a face cover. Season 1 made it sound like you needed covering to go into the Upside Down, but they've abandoned that concept. This is, I'm guessing, Elle covering her face so that she's not identified by the government since she's on the run. Okay, this, I wish we had my reaction to this, but this looks like Will in the Upside Down in 1983. Because we saw the shot of this stunt guy falling in what looks like a similar outfit to what Will was wearing when he rode the bike into the woods. And this is a Demogorgon going after him. Many people have been speculating that it was a Vecna who captured him in the very first minutes of the series. But this makes it look like a Demogorgon was actually out to get him. But he's somehow going to survive, this 11-year-old boy. So this is a big unanswered question. And I imagine Vecna intervenes, or the Mind Flayer, or somebody. Oh, Linda Hamilton, yes. From the Terminator series. Every season has had specific homages and taken inspiration from various 80s action movies. And the Terminator series involved time travel. And since the Upside Down is stuck in 1983, or replica of Hawkins in 1983, one or the other, there could be an aspect of visiting the past, whether it's actual time travel or going through what was in the past in the Upside Down. Because we are going to go back to Will's memories in season 1, almost certainly. He's probably going to remember what happened to him, just as Elle remembered what happened to her in the lab in season 4. We'll see. Okay, this is Elle and Hopper, and that is right before this shot of two figures standing in front of the wall. So this is almost certainly now Elle and Hopper. Okay, now this, I'm going to guess that this is Nancy Hare and maybe Jonathan by her side. It seems like they're going to be paired up. We saw that intimate scene with them. And this is them seeing a gate opening. However, they're not running in fear. It looks like they're willingly standing there. And also these little arcs of electricity on the sides. I'm wondering if the reason why they're at a radio tower is they're going to use radio waves, radio signals as a way to maybe open gates. Maybe that's what we're looking at right now, possibly. Okay, this is Steve and Dustin reacting to something. Dustin's been beaten up, apparently. And also one of the previous shots made it look like Mike also had a bruise on his face. And I think one of the themes that we'll have this season is the Hellfire Club and the core group being bullied for and blamed for the gates opening. Dustin looks pretty beat up, so he could have been the most intensely fighting back, which obviously makes sense because they probably spoke ill of Eddie. Demo dogs running around someplace. Now, this is probably the most specific, quote-unquote, spoilery thing we see in this, because it looks like they're going to get Max out of the hospital. She's wearing her hospital gown, and also this is someone wearing a Candy Striper outfit. These are the people, I don't know if they still wear Candy Stripes anymore, but they're the people in the hospital who help the nurses. And I had read somewhere that Nancy was going to be a Candy Striper this season. Maybe this is Nancy, I don't know. But this is not this does not look like Nancy Hare. However, that could be a way someone could sneak Max out of the hospital. Now, why would Max need to be snuck out, however, is a question I have, because it's not like she's under army guard or anything. And also, why would they be hunted by demo dogs? I'm wondering if they're taking Max somewhere. It's not like there are demo dogs running around the hospital, is what I'm saying. So maybe they take Max somewhere where they can bring her back somehow. This was in the last teaser, but it looks like she's being psychically attacked. Something's going on. Maybe Vecna's going after her. But who knows? The army could be using technology to try to deal with Vecna that also harms other people attached to the Upside Down in some way, like Elle and Will. Who knows? Okay, random army shot doing army things. Okay, here, actually, this is probably the army shooting at Elle and Hopper. And we're going to see in a later shot that Elle's unconscious. Seems to confirm that they will be on the run from the government. And also that they're shooting to kill Elle. They see her as a danger. They see her as part of the threat, which is stupid. They're clearly in over their head. There's a gate opening in Hawkins. Okay, now this is someone driving a car, and we see that it's Steve with Jonathan in the car also. And I think that's Nancy right there also, because we saw a preview picture where it looked like those two were in the back seat. So it looks like, okay, Steve's looking badass, I have to say. But it looks like they're driving into the Upside Down. This is like a super quick shot, but you see the vines, the tendrils, whatever, what have you. I'm guessing it's that big gate that we saw in the daytime that the army had guards next to that looked like you could drive through it. I imagine that's the main gate, the big gate in the center where all of the other ones intersected. Okay, this is Joyce, and we see that it is a demo dog, Demogorgon. And something that some people pointed out earlier is that it looks like Will is in a trance state that I didn't notice in my last video. He is standing strangely. here with his arms to his side. Okay, and then here's a shot following Will as he falls. So this seems to be a theme this season. Will is out of it. And who knows, it could be Vecna targeting him. Same questions I have as to why Elle was screaming. You know, it could be any number of things. Okay, and then this one broke my heart. This is Karen protecting her daughter. And, you know, they said they're going back to season 1 themes, you know, a parent and their child. And they're underwater. They're in this, are being forced to hide underwater. What a horrifying thing. This could be the bathtub, maybe, in their house. Maybe they think that it can detect them by smelling them, whatever's pursuing them. It's awful to see, you know, them, and especially Holly, going through this. Okay, that's Robin looking at these particles that we saw, that we know from past seasons they're connected to the hive mind. They get agitated when any part of the hive mind gets agitated or burned. But it's swirling up into the radio tower, and I don't know why a radio station and a radio tower are central to the season, or why they are important this season. But yeah, it's swirling up to some red point in the sky. Who knows what that is? It could be, I don't have any theories, but that does suggest that radio signals, that they're a way to interact with the Upside Down and Vecna, possibly. There's a reason why it's focused on the radio tower. Okay, and this is Nancy washing her hands of blood, and something awful has happened. Maybe someone's died, or she almost died, something, but she's just gone through a big trauma. Okay, now this is interesting.
One last time.
Okay, Will closing his eyes. And we've just been hearing the voiceover from Hopper talking about wherever this blood leads, so there's something about following a trail of blood. But he says, I need you to fight one last time, and that's superimposed over a shot of Will. So suggesting Will is going to fight, which is interesting. And also, okay, if you look at, this does not look like Will being possessed. I mean, we've seen him in season 2, where he gets possessed in the field and his, you know, eyes are up in his eyelids. And this looks like he's consciously going into a mind state. This suggests he has powers, is what I'm saying. Or consciously remembering his buried memories. Something. But it suggests a supernatural arc for Will. And that makes me very excited as a Byler fan and a Will fan. And a gay person, because, you know, very cool to have a gay main character. And possibly the main hero of the series. And it also looks like there are tear tracks on his face, too, I'm going to point out. So anyway, I'm expecting a lot of turmoil and drama. Definitely a tear track right there. Okay, and then this is Steve comforting Dustin for some reason. Now, what can make Dustin break down like this? You know, it could be something from the A plot, something from the Upside Down, or it could be, you know, the trauma of losing Eddie, and the aftermath of Eddie being blamed and Hellfire Club being blamed. Who knows? But whatever it is, Steve is clearly, you know, seeing himself as having to comfort Dustin. They're going to grow closer this season, which also makes me worried for whether one of them survives. I think the core 4 are going to be fine. The 4 boys, but we'll see. All right, this is Elle looking badass and Hopper looking badass as well, being prepared for some danger. They are in some kind of science lab? Okay, now this is Hopper saying, let's end this, and talking to somebody in a bubble outfit. I don't know what this is. Is this someone's neck? I don't know who he's talking to, because it's apparently not Elle, because Elle doesn't need this outfit. But him saying let's end this kid, just, you know, that's a term of affection he has. I think he would say it to Elle. So maybe this is a different scene, maybe? Anyway, we see Elle in the next shot, probably using her mind projecting powers. Hopper throws grenades. Elle's moving slightly on the ground, but she's incapacitated. That's kind of dangerous, throwing grenades over her head when there's a wall right there, I'm going to point out. But apparently it's successful because we see this shot next. Oh, what exploded, though? This looks like Turnbow. Hey, the second episode is called The Turnbow Trap. It says land development something. Huh. So maybe the second episode title is the gang setting up a trap for the army. And somehow it has something to do with Turnbow. Therefore, the Turnbow Trap. Hey, I'm brilliant. That's what you pay the big bucks for. Okay, now this... Okay, my first not recorded reaction, I wasn't sure who was screaming here. I thought maybe it was Nancy or Will, but apparently this is Will. And Will about to die? Excuse me? Hello? This is Vecna's hand, and this is, you know, the what happens right before you die with Vecna. And that is, hopefully this is a nightmare. Oh, but actually I think it because we're going to be put through the ringer in terms of thinking Will's going to die this season, because I think most people think he's the most likely to die. And because Will is so selfless and is willing to sacrifice himself, I think we're going to get definitely have it teased in front of us this season. But it also assures me that he probably won't die. There's a nefarious set of reasons. I'm not going to go into them now, but if he really were to die, would they put it in this teaser? You know, this early? Actually, at least he wouldn't die right here. Okay? Holly facing danger, looking at something red. Lucas facing danger, looking at something red. Hey, Robin and Murray. I need to see these two characters together. They're probably going to be hilarious to see their minds working together. But they just heard something over the radio. Okay, someone's eyeball. I don't know who this is. Someone's going to figure this out on the internet. But that's a very close shot. This might actually be a cut from the actual show, where it zooms into someone's eye and then jumps straight to characters running through the tunnel. This looks like Erica in her purple jacket. Is that Will's jacket? With the little horizontal stripe at the bottom? I'm not sure. Okay, Erica giving someone a shot. Okay, this is cool. This is Elle being able to fly. I can't wait to see this. And that might be the same bus they were in season 1. That would be a cool callback. Yeah. And it's clear that Elle has leveled up her powers. If she were a wizard or magic user, she will have gained a few levels since the last season. In the last teaser, we saw the army standing around this plate of metal and something trying to break out. This is probably that. It's a Demogorgon. Okay, and then Joyce probably... Okay, someone on the internet is going to figure out whether this is Will. Someone's going to look at his shoes, some sleuth. But I'm guessing it is, because look at this next shot. Okay, so this is Mike. And we saw that shot from the previous teaser where Joyce is helping Will walk, who needs help walking. And we see Mike with the same outfit, with the same girl, protecting the other kids. So this might be moments before that shot. They see something threatening. Joyce helps Will up. They try to get away. And then Mike stands in front of them. Also, this says Evolved's General Store. So this suggests they're in downtown Hawkins. So not an army base, or maybe the occupied part of Hawkins. Maybe the army occupied it. But they're in downtown Hawkins, probably near where the gates got together. Okay, and who knows if this is what they're looking at? This is clearly supposed to be Vecna. I don't know if this was made specially for this teaser trailer. A film of skin being ripped apart. I don't know. That doesn't seem like how he would enter. I'm a little skeptical that this is a real shot. We'll see. Okay, and then apparently 100 decibels is important. And I don't know, again, I don't know what that phrase burn begins refers to. But I think it has to do with using the radio tower to do something with the Upside Down, maybe opening a gate or targeting Vecna or the Upside Down creatures in some way. Okay, Vecna says found you and does some fire thing. Okay, so maybe that's significant. Maybe Vecna hunting a particular character, maybe Will, maybe Elle, is important. Honestly, I'm not sure what Vecna's agenda is going to be. He's already opened the gates. And Will said at the end of season 4 that he was not going to stop until he's taken everyone, I believe. I didn't realize I would go into so much detail looking at every shot. So, and what I saw on the internet didn't add much to what I had already seen. Now, I'm shooting this after I saw a couple of videos from other people and read some stuff online. I need to include it here. Vecna looks different. He looks more skeletal. This sign here makes it look like we're in downtown Hawkins. It looks like it says John's something. So this could be the scene where Mike, Will, and Joyce are with the kids, possibly. But yeah, Vecna looks different, and we remember at the end of season 4, he was burned. And in the poster, we saw it looked like half of his face was gone, which they might do an explicit reference to D&D and have one of his eyes missing. But I don't know what to say about this, what it will say about the plot, but apparently he's going to be really pissed off. But this fire I thought was coming from Vecna, but I read someone thinking maybe this is Will casting Fireball, which would be a callback to earlier seasons and would mean that Will has powers. But I don't know if Will has these kinds of powers, but it's a very exciting possibility. Also, I've read that the Duffers have said that this teaser barely scratches the surface and only looks mainly at Volume 1. And that's really exciting to hear that so much stuff is going on and that it's just the first half and the supposedly less exciting part of the season. So that's pretty much what I wanted to go over. If you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe and ring the bell because I'm going to post future videos following the promotion for Season 5 and also posting my reactions to the episodes. Please leave a comment, let me know what you think. I love to read people's comments. And if you haven't yet, watch my big Byler video. I'll link to it at the very end of the video. I put a lot of work into it, and if you haven't seen my channel before, I think you'll really enjoy it. So that's it. I am Ronald, keeping it real and off the record. See you next time.